Hello, dear friends. Sun may go down on me, but I'll turn the car light on. Just want to speak just for a very few minutes, hopefully, about a topic that's come to me to speak about, and that is about selfishness. It's been probably 2 to 3 years ago that if I had of I would have never said I was a selfish person. I mean, I thought I was very giving, generous, this, that, and the other. But the Lord began to show me something. That's what I thought I might share. And if it speaks to anybody, then could be for you too. And what I was doing, my conclusion of that I was not selfish, I was basing that by looking around at the other people who walked with the Lord or other people in general that I knew. And by that standard, I felt like I was a pretty not selfish person, unselfish person, that's the word. But the Lord began to show me, no, the right standard to think about here is His standard and how He is. Set your mind on Him. And He is selfishness has no part in Him. Why, He gave up His own life for me and you, and many others. So selfishness, He didn't have a selfish bone in His body. That's not the way of the Spirit. So when He began to show me, so gently and kindly, not in a condemning way or anything like that, that is something He wanted to work on in me. Well, the first thing I did was just look up some scriptures on selfishness. And just in case anybody doesn't know this, I bet a lot of you do, but if you go in Google and type scriptures about selfishness and hit go, all right, different websites will come up. But if you scroll down, one of the top ones will most likely be a website called Knowing Jesus. And I go there, I use that so much, and I just wanted to bring it up in case anybody didn't know about it. And on that website, it might say 43 scriptures about selfishness. And I think that's exactly what it says. But anyway, and so anytime the Lord gets my attention on something, I'll just look up scriptures about that topic, about that subject. All right? So that Knowing Jesus, that might just be a resource for you. And it has all those scriptures about selfishness. Well, I read through them, read some of them in context, just ever how the Lord leads, all right? But just because I've read all that now and studied on it, I was getting it in my mind, right? That doesn't mean that all of a sudden now I knew how to be a very unselfish person. No. Now comes being a doer of that word and not just a hearer of the word. And now I have to wait on the Lord. And what He will do, He does in my life is that, all right, so I got those scriptures in my mind and everything. Well, now, here in my everyday, ordinary life, here will come a circumstance. And it's an opportunity for me to apply what I'm learning. So let me just give you one little quick example. Now, I know some people might say, well, that's just silly. That's so little. No, the Lord, He's into the details of our life. He's into the little things. Sometimes we just miss them because we think, oh, that wasn't important or anything like that. But no, He's concerned about everything. And He can use everything. And so, it was my dad who lived with me for about 9 years, which is a whole total nother story. And at that time, I was so angry with my dad at this point of my life, of this example I'm about to share, that I couldn't hardly stand to look at him, much less anything else. Be kind, be nice, and try not to be selfish. The Lord was working with me on these things, but it took time. So anyway, one night, I wanted a bowl of ice cream, and I went in there in the kitchen, and I know my dad loves ice cream too. And I went in there in the kitchen, and the thought came, oh, I bet Daddy would like a bowl of ice cream. Well, like I said, I couldn't hardly stand to be around him. I was angry with him. He's doing some things that was very hurtful, this, that, and the other. But I wanted to practice not pleasing my own self, but doing what would please the Lord. And so I said, all right, I'll fix him a bowl of ice cream. You know, I thought I was doing good right there, right? Well, and I know, again, this may be weird, but I'm a little OCD about some things. And I was going through to get a spoon. And I was getting 2 spoons out, one for Daddy's bowl, one for mine. Well, there is one particular spoon in that drawer that was my favorite spoon. I don't know what it was. It's just always the spoon I went to. So I got me that spoon, and I got Daddy a spoon. And the thought came to me, now, I know this was the Lord and the Spirit leading and guiding me, because something as little as a spoon I would have never been concerned with. But something came to me, the thought, well, why don't you give your daddy the best spoon? And I was like, okay, you know, and gave him my favorite spoon. Took him his ice cream and went on. That's what I have found, that when the Lord wants to work with us on a certain area in our life and things in our heart, because we're constantly being renewed and conformed into His image, right? You see, serving the Lord, walking with the Lord, you don't have to go overseas on missions trips to walk with the Lord, serve the Lord, or find out your purpose with the Lord. Not saying that's a bad thing to do, and Lord may call some people to do it, I don't know. But what I'm saying, here's how I found it to be, and you can think about it for your life, is that, say the Lord was working with me on selfishness, okay? Well, what He did was use the very people that were connected to my life and around me, that were in my everyday life, all right? And at that time, I had a husband and children in the house and my dad in the house. For you, maybe you don't have anybody living in your house, but maybe there's a store that you frequent and you see, you know, a certain person many times. There's not many people that's so isolated and alone and solitary that they're not around a person every now and then. But see, the Lord will use those people, give you opportunities with those people to practice these things He's teaching you. You know? That you might also become doers of the word that you're hearing and learning and studying on. Just a couple scriptures, and like I said, I believe on that Knowing Jesus website, there are 43 on selfishness. And 1 Corinthians 10:24, don't seek your own good, but that of your neighbor. You see, that's what the Lord began to teach me how to do. Was don't just look after my own interest and what I want and to please me, but put others ahead of yourself, Misty. You know, do unto others more than you would do yourself, and think of others higher and in higher regard than you do your own self. And I would have had no clue how to do that. That is something I had to and still have to trust and depend on the Holy Spirit to teach me as we go. Philippians 2:4-8 also says, look out not for just your own interests, but the interest of others. Philippians 2:21 talks about a people who sought for their own interest, but not after the interest of Jesus Christ. And I'm going to, Philippians 2:3, do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, think of one another as more important than yourself. And I hope I'm not talking too fast because I'm trying to wrap this up. I don't want to take up too much time. But if selfishness, that's just what I'm bringing up. But y'all, it could be anything. What just keeps coming to mind? What situation do you find yourself dealing with over and over and over? Pay attention in those things. All right, the Lord wants to teach us something. He wants to work on us. All right? And so Judges 21:23 talks about a people that everyone did what was right in his own eyes. And that's the people we do not want to be. We want to constantly, and just what I could say about that, to keep from, to try to start practicing that, is no matter how little, no matter what it is, just things that happen, run it by the Lord. Just, when the Lord comes to your mind, or that situation comes to your mind of something that happened, just, Lord, I just want to place this before you, and you look over it, and you tell me, did I do anything wrong here? And He will let you know. Because so many times we can think we were right, but the Lord sees everything crystal clear, all truth, and there's always something to be worked on in us. So that's just one little thing I might say, is just, throughout your day, whenever your mind turns to the Lord, or anything that kind of bothers your conscience a little, or maybe you had an argument with someone, even if you just know it and 10,000 other people witnessing would have said you were in the right, just run it by the Lord to make sure. Just say, Lord, did you see anything in that needs to change about me? Lord, help me. And y'all, we sure can't do it of ourselves. He is our teacher, and He's the greatest, and He will teach us. And it's just amazing. And I'm encouraged today because this hard few months I've been going through, I feel like the Lord is finally starting to open my mind to understand a little bit about what all this has been for and what He's teaching me. So I'm excited about that. But this about selfishness is something that the Lord is constantly working on in me, and all for the goal that the light of Christ might shine brighter through me, through you, onto others, that others might see how good He is living within us. So, I love y'all. I hope this didn't go too long. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.